Good morning, all. I want to call to order the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting for Wednesday, November 16th. Good morning, all. Can we have a roll call?
Thomas Vallon.
Here.
Tim Davis. Carl Lentz.
Here.
Carol Killian.
Here.
Lawrence McDermott.
Here.
Ruth Traeger.
Here.
Bishop Derek Triplett. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, once again, please talk directly into your microphones. Yes, thank you. So that all of this can be recorded properly. Thank you. Do we have an approval for the minutes from October 19th?
So moved.
Mr. McDermott.
Second.
Mr. Vallon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We can go directly to our reports. Phil, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm speaking directly into the mic.
Oh, man.
Boy, we heard that.
You know I'm a big mouth anyway. We are working closely with Emory. The city did approve, the city commission did approve the tax abatement for Teledyne, at least the first reading. Second reading is yet to come. We waited for the city commission to approve the first go-round before we pulled the trigger on getting Enterprise Florida through Greg Swope and to ask the governor to make a call to the appropriate decision maker of Teledyne Technologies in California. So that is now in the process, and governor's been traveling and running around, but that is scheduled to happen. So we'll wait to see how that goes. We do have a copy of what the state of New Hampshire offered, and I think we're better, but I think we're in good shape so far on Teledyne. ARC Technologies building is moving along quite nicely out on Mason Avenue Extension. We've been working very closely with Dr. Kent Sharples of the CEO Business Alliance. He's got a client who in Western New York State who is just very reluctant to take that last step and pull the trigger. But so far, it looks like they're very interested in the building that AO Precision was in on Mason Avenue, and they moved. AO moved across the street, and that's owned by Bud Severino. So if we can, that issue was he couldn't find a place. Looks like he has. So now we're getting down to the point of moving costs and when and timing and so on. He's got to give us the go-ahead to move forward with the incentives. Emory's been and I have been chatting about a possible tax abatement there. So it's in process. So that's a good one for the city if he chooses here. Right. So that's about all I have for the moment.
Good. Thank you very much. Questions? Comments?
What was the vote at the city commission on Teledyne?
Majority.
Nothing?
That was unanimous.
Yes, and it comes before the city commission tonight for final reading. Second reading.
Tonight. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just mention that the entire package, including the city's contribution, would be about $1.6 million.
Sure. Right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We want to welcome Helen Coffin this morning. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. Would you like to give us a report?
Well, Carrie Simolan did not tell me I had a report to give. So, although I did get the agenda in advance, I apologize. I did not look at it, given I was with you all last night as well.
Right. We just wing it.
As Phil mentioned, the New York client is interested in a particular building. However, he has not seen that building in person yet. We actually Team Volusia did some video of a number of buildings to get his interest, because the building he was most interested in is now in the process of being sold. So it's been an interesting ride on that one. Team Volusia, I think, as I mentioned at the Vision Foundation last night, we are in the midst of finalizing our industry cluster analysis so that we can define the targets that we think are best for Team Volusia to focus on as we move forward. So that's been really, really interesting, and we're just hired a firm to do a final piece of data for us. So hopefully we'll have that by the December 8th board meeting. It may be a little bit after that. It's not due to the end of the year, and we're working hard to get that finished. But things are going along smoothly. Carrie is at FabTech, a trade show in Chicago with the World Economic Development Alliance. She said that's going well. She's at the McCormick Center. I don't know if any of you have been there, but it's a huge facility, and she had not been there before. So I'm sure she is working very hard because it takes a lot of energy to work a show at that place. So anyhow, I think everything's going well. So thank you all so much last night for inviting me to join the Vision Foundation last night. I enjoyed that.
Well, we appreciate it, and we, like I spoke to you before, you said you don't want to talk about January yet, but we are going to be coming up on the fact that you're on our agenda for the January, and we'll be talking about that in a few minutes too. But thank you for last night as well. Any questions, Helen, right now? Okay. Let's go right into our the program agenda for this for our meeting that's scheduled for. Oh, Vision. I'm sorry, I forgot about you,
That's
Larry.
all right.
We were already talking about Vision, so.
No problem.
Thank you.
And Helen did kind of give us a presentation about half an hour last night, which just gave you a lot of folks did not really have a clear picture. We didn't have a total agreement of our group about the mission and such.
Well, now let's say it was one person, so
Yeah,
let's
true.
don't make it sound like it's.
That's true. It was only one person. They were rather vociferous, as they say. But our main focus last night was an effort that Francine Barnes, Dr. Fulton, and Jim have put together about assisting the working poor in getting medical care. And this is Francine put together some numbers that, I wish I would have brought it this morning, that is extremely earth-shaking. And it could be as many as 47,000 people in this county have no type of, between the ages of 18 and 65, okay, have no health insurance but are working. And that's a really tough deal, because a lot of these people just don't know where to go and get health treatment. And we have one small clinic in Holly Hill, and there's one in, is it DeBerry?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in DeBerry. It's also a free clinic for working uninsured. So Francine put together a proposal, and we're going to try to take that out to Halifax and Florida hospitals and try to get this, try to get some action in this area. What we try to do at the Vision Foundation is not actually do things, because we have a small group and we don't have that any money. So, but what we try to do is put the groups together to do the action. And in this case, we would like to put together a champion, which would be a physician or someone in the healthcare field to lead the charge and put together groups to be able to make the initiative go. And I think the overall goal would be is some type of clinic at either Halifax, Florida, or somewhere else, third location, which would be staffed by volunteer doctors, dentists, and maybe chiropractors to be able to help people. Because, you got a guy working a truck and he doesn't have insurance and he's got a hurt back. I saw a guy like that in St. Augustine the other day. He was loading beer up in this. And it wasn't one of our guys, but you could tell his back was just killing him. And this guy's a big, strong guy, and he had a keg, and he's trying to put it while we were eating lunch. He was trying to put it in the restaurant we're in, and he could, he was just hurt. And this, so he may not have insurance or some way to get health care. If you could get a clinic like that where he could get treated properly, and that would help the employer out as well. And so there may be another link in that as well. Who knows? But Francine has spent a ton of time on this thing, and it's great. And it was a great effort. Other than that, that's our largest effort right now. And we're looking for some other efforts to look at as well, but that's what we're doing right at this point in time.
Right, and all of those things are based on the strategies that are listed in the vision plan again, so it's not something that we're just winging off of, it's something that's been talked about and is part of the strategies. So, thank you, Larry. Any other questions there? Okay, let's move on forward to drafting our program agenda for the January meeting. I believe it's at the back of this packet, if you want to take a look at it. Henry and I have talked about it quite a bit, and based on our last meetings here also, we have the people who will be invited to give this report. We want to have it to be, we've called it, we've got a kind of a different name on it. We're calling it the Daytona Beach Area Economic Development Report, instead of it just being another one of our advisory board meetings. So that we can do, we've talked about doing some flyers and some advertising in a poster and things like that, so that each of these people can report in January as a kickoff for the new year, and report on what's happened during the past year. The market study report, of course, is the major one, because that report will be brand new to summarize this past 2011 year, moving into 2012. And so we've allocated a few minutes for each of these reports, basically. But I'd like to make sure that we have enough time for Q&A, so that it's really more of a working session where we can have people, public, whoever, to be there to make this a viable meeting, and not just sit there and listen to a couple of things and then go home and forget about it. So, any comments on this?
When is Q4? No,
It wouldn't be in February.
I mean, February.
First Friday in February, third Thursday and Friday. 20 minutes is a long. I would just suggest everybody,
Okay.
with all due respect to my partner in crime here.
I'll take your 10 minutes.
I think 10 minutes is enough for anybody.
Okay.
And I think we ought to define what it is, the difference between business development activities, business development, and targeting business development. Or if you just want to talk about what each of us are doing in terms of the community, that's fine. But you may want to tweak the title a little, that's all.
Oh, that's fine. That's why we're throwing this out at you, because whatever you'd like to.
Well, those are the only
suggest.
things I thought of. I didn't,
Okay.
You could just say CEO Business Lines update, Team Volusia update, county update, and
Yeah,
then have our names.
something
or
like that would be
Okay.
good. And just
Okay,
keep it, I
okay.
would just suggest, I know you like to talk,
I'm
but
teasing.
10 minutes is
10 minutes is
10 minutes is enough, particularly if I have to wait for you to finish.
Helen, so 10 minutes would be good for you too?
Yeah, whatever.
Because frankly, I would really rather do that anyway. I know the market study report will take some time, because that's pretty important. But if you guys take 10 minutes, then that leaves a lot more time. I really want this to be an interactive kind of thing within, people who show up.
But the time is definitely 6 p.m. It's an evening event.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because we have our annual meeting that morning, so I wouldn't
Oh,
be
is it the
available.
same
Sorry.
day?
But that's fine.
Will that be a problem?
Not for me.
Okay. Now,
Long day.
the last 2 years, we've had this in September as a meeting of this Economic Development Advisory Board, and not too many people showed up, and so that's why we're revamping this a little bit and having it into January, so that it can become a wrap-up of the year and going forward into the next year, and have more people involved.
You want to make it exciting, ask the mayoral candidates to
Yeah.
each make a
That's a
statement.
good idea.
That would bring a lot of people out if each of them would talk about economic development and their vision
That's a
for
good
the
idea.
city. We already have 3 announced. Maybe there may be more by then, but that would be, I think, I'd like to know. I mean, that would be kind of interesting.
What do you think, Emery? That's something we can talk about.
I've made the note. I'll just see if there's any legal
Feel-
ramifications regarding that.
But I give them 2 minutes, not 20.
Yeah, 2 minutes per candidate.
They'll take 10 anyway.
That's a really good idea, actually. I kind of like that, because I just want this to be,
Well, January's the perfect time, because
Yeah.
people are going to start getting serious about
Yeah, we wrap up the year and then move into the next year. And I mean, yeah, Emery, why don't you just put out a few feelers and
Sure.
what does everybody else feel about that? Okay?
I mean, they're all going to be there anyway.
I hope so. I hope they will. Yeah.
Actually, you could expand beyond the mayors, because there's other seats that are up. for-
Well, no, we don't want this to be a political.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're gonna open it up to mayoral candidates, you know, you
I
have
think if we're talking
commissioners
about
seats
vision,
too.
talking about economic development, and it's one of those things that everybody wants
It's
to hear
huge.
what they say.
You know, as much as it would be good, I have to defer to being a political rally.
Right.
And what essence of important, what information are they going to bring to the table that's new? And I really think that even though I think it's a good idea, it would be great to have the notoriety. They don't have standing yet, and they don't have any new information yet. And I just don't want this, I would not want this to be a political rally.
Well, like you said, if they're probably going to be there anyway, they're going to stand up and want to ask some questions, and maybe they can just do it that way. You know.
Yeah, maybe the Q and A portion if they want to do
Yeah.
it, but I would not put them on the agenda.
Well, Emery, again, we'll just let you kind of feel it out a little bit and see. see
I
what-
have made a little note,
Okay.
invite the mayoral candidates.
Okay.
And we'll take.
We can invite them, and then they can, and then say
And the
you can take
commissioners.
part in the Q&A or something like that.
Mhm.
And don't give them a spot on the agenda, possibly. Any other comments?
You wanna drive attendance, offer free food.
Yeah.
Oh, is there going to be food?
All the realtors
We
and
can,
bankers.
we can do
Yeah,
something.
Big John will show up, yeah.
For sure. Realtors and bankers always come.
Right.
Well, I mean, the food idea is a good idea if you ask for corporate donation.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that.
How much is food going to be? $300 for breakfast food?
Well,
That's
couple hundred
it's
anyway.
I can't.
It's
You can't find the
It's
corporate.
dinner.
6 o'clock p.m.
It's 6 p.m.
Oh, snack food, like.
Yeah,
cheese
snacks.
and Coke.
Heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Heavy hors d'oeuvres.
You know, there's also several community groups around the city that obviously most of the people involved with them are active, and if we contact the leaders of those groups, then we can have them advertise for us.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's the one thing we did talk a lot about. I'm going to put together a flyer and even a poster design that we can put out and make sure it's to all of the advisory board meetings. Do a little more proactive, to let people know in the community that we're having this. Get it to Susan and all the advisory boards and the groups like you were just talking about, possibly, and it'll be on the website, and we want to do a little bit more. Yes, ma'am?
Should we do a save the state, like maybe at the commission meeting?
Yeah, great idea.
Yes.
Mention it tonight, Emery.
I have it, I have it in the minutes on page 2. It says, contact other boards.
Right.
Mention it during city commission meeting, included on the water bill and the city website.
Right.
So those are
Right.
the things I have right now.
And mention it tonight especially, so, very good. Anything else on this? Questions, comments?
If one of you is in the audience tonight, it's a little easier for you to do
Okay.
it. Okay, I have an item on the agenda tonight, the Teledyne, and that'll be my only opportunity to get up, unless I get up at the end as a citizen and kind
Uh-huh.
of do it. So, but as a representative
Don't
of the
have
board,
one at the end for
Huh?
citizens anymore.
huh?
I don't think they have a thing at the end for citizens anymore. You're only allowed to speak to items on the agenda, or else at 5:30.
Well,
Well, you might
we'll
have
make
to
something.
do it. You might have to just sneak it in during
make-
your report.
I'll mention it to one of the commissioners, and maybe they can mention it, like Gilliland or
Okay.
something like that.
All right, great idea. Thanks. Anything else on this? Yeah, well, we talked.
can you get us a flyer? Are we going to have a flyer for this that we can actually distribute on our email list or whatever else it might be as well?
Absolutely.
Yes, that's what we talked about. Were you able to get a copy of that poster that
I was
we-
not.
Okay.
Helen, the poster that was passed out regarding the event that they're going to have in Deltona, remember, it was kind of like that. Do you
11 by
happen to have an
17?
extra one of those around?
No, I don't think he left it. I mean, sure, Jerry would send you the flyer though, so
Okay.
you can see what it looked like.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought I'd just put something together real quick about that and get it to Susan and anybody else who wants to email it out. I can do that. So, thank you. Do we have any old business? All right, our new business are these two tax incentive programs in front of us. Daytona Beverages is the first one.
Yes, Daytona Beverages has contacted us. You have the application in front of you. I do not have an amount back from the property appraiser's office as to the value of this incentive yet. I'm going to speculate that it's about $47,000 over the period. The recommendation is for years 1 and 2 to be at 100%, 3 and 4 to be at 75%, 5 and 6 at 50%, and year 7 at 25%. If we go through the application, this is an expansion of their current facility by 30,000 square feet, and adding a minimum of 40 jobs. I believe they estimate that they're going to do 55 jobs, but they want to be sure to hit all the marks. Turning to page 2, it's kind of more of number 1. The average annual wage is about $39,333. It is about 115% of our average area wage. You see under number 5, they propose to create about 55 jobs at the end of the period of exemption. What's happened with this company? They purchased a company out of DeLand, was it? And they have 40 jobs that instead of going to Gainesville or Ocala or someplace else, they're going to come to Daytona Beach. So we're going to start out in year 1 with 40 jobs, and then they're going to grow at about 15 jobs after that point during the period of exemption. If you look at item number, let's see, the projected amount of payroll using the average annual wage is a total of $36 million over that period. The item number 7, the percentage hiring goal for new jobs would be 20% of Daytona Beach residents. Facility purchase is about $2 million. Item number 10 really kind of displays how they're going to come up with those numbers. Their operation, their capital investment over the time period for a total of $5,125,000. Move on to page 4. Under item number 13, they have a total of about 100 employees now. 16% of those employees are Daytona Beach residents, so 20% would be an increase of the new jobs that they're planning to hire. And you see the display about where they are now.
Where are you reading off of?
This is for.
I'm getting that they had 28 employees. I'm reading performance right.
No, Daytona
Yeah, we're
Beverages.
We're on the lower one.
Daytona Beverages. Okay. Okay, let's see, they have completed the application for the state. Those are the last 2 pages, which we require in order to be in compliance with state guidelines. So that is Daytona Beverages. We're expanding an existing company in the city of Daytona Beach.
Well, in all difference, Kevin and Chris, they buy a DeLand company. They can't move it to Gainesville or to Ocala or to Cocoa or anything.
I was going to ask that. What is their
They have territory.
area?
You know, that would increase their truck operations by many fold. They have to either have it in Daytona or DeLand or
They
somewhere
already have
in
a
the
facility.
county.
They already have a facility in Ocala.
But
the company that they bought has a facility in Ocala.
I thought this was the one they bought in the land.
It might cover that same territory.
It's Deland and Ocala, so they have a choice. They're closing Deland. They can move the jobs to Ocala, or they can move it to Dayton.
Trucking here all the way from Ocala to here. Okay.
Well, I don't see a problem with this, is there? Are there any issues?
I don't see any issues.
I'm sorry.
My only concern is that of the present workforce, only 16% are from Daytona, and of the proposed, only 20%. And yet we're the ones who are putting the tax exemption, and we don't even have an amount that would be. I would feel much more comfortable. That means that out of their total employees right now, 84 of them are not Daytona Beach residents. And of the new ones, all but 8 would be from somewhere else in Daytona. That's the only thing that concerns me. That we would be footing the money, and we would not be getting the employment for our residents.
Well, Ruth, the other part of that economic development point is that even if they live in Port Orange, Holly Hill, Ormond Beach, or whatever else in the county, they're still going to spend money in Daytona Beach. They're still going to create an economy. It's the the rising tide floats all boats scenario. And I don't know how you can restrict zip code or some sort of restriction on that, for employment, even if it's tied to an incentive, because it's just, I just don't see how you can do it under this.
I understand that, but what gets me is that our Daytona Beach residents would be footing the bill for residents of other cities. If you live in Port Orange and you go home to Port Orange, chances are you're going to do your grocery shopping and your other shopping in Port Orange. Likewise, Ormond. Because if it was true that you would spend, even if you live somewhere else, you would spend the majority of your money in Daytona Beach, it doesn't seem to hold water, because that doesn't seem to be the case. Otherwise, we would be doing a heck of a lot better than we are now.
How would you propose them to hire and say, well, I'm sorry, you live in Holly Hill, you have to move to Daytona Beach in order for us to hire you?
Well, that's up to them to do the hiring, but I think if we're going to expend all this money, I think it should be for the benefit of our residents, because after all, it comes out of their pocketbook.
I can report back to you when I have better data from the property appraiser's office. If we boil it down, we're still getting more jobs in Daytona Beach. We would, many times what happens is the company doesn't want to put a high goal out there that they may or may not make. They want to put something out there that is makeable. So although 20% might be low for that, the 10, 15 new jobs that they're going to grow, they're bringing over 40, and they have jobs. So we can press that company to do better.
Emery, obviously on page 4 is where I think is most important for us to look. Number 15, staff use only, and that's the proposed exemption.
Right.
And obviously we need to get that information prior to making a decision, I believe.
I start out with that. Years 1 and 2 at 100%, 3 and 4 at 75%, 5 and 6 at 50%, and 7 at 25%.
Okay. And now we need to determine what a percentage of what. Are we talking about a percentage? Are we talking about the assessed value of the new improvements? Or
Yes.
are we okay? So it's what we'll be voting on is strictly new potential tax revenue. This is not taking, and this I think this needs to be clarified, because we discuss this a lot, and we need to know where the money is coming from. What they're proposing is to build an additional 30,000 square feet of improvements at their current site. What they're asking for is to not have to pay taxes on that expansion of their current facility. So we're not taking something that's already assessed value per the property appraiser and taking it off the tax rolls. We're just saying to them, we're going to give you the benefit of not having to pay new taxes on this expansion. So as far as the county budget and the city budget and everything else are concerned, by making these, giving them these tax abatements, we're not taking money out of money that we've previously received. We're just not getting those new funds for a couple of years.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yes.
What's the time frame for this? What's the next, when do they need some notice from us?
We would take the decision today, and the first reading would be December 7th. The second reading would be December 21st.
Okay, so we do need to make a decision today on whether or not we'd like to. Can you run those percentage numbers down again one more
Yes,
time?
ma'am. Years 1 and 2, 100%. Years 3 and 4, 75%. Years 5 and 6, 50%. Year 7, 25%. Now, I started out by saying it might be as much as $47,000. Could be a lot less than $47,000. I just wanted to kind of do the worst.
I don't feel comfortable voting without having actual figures.
And one of the issues there to address is that cannot be determined until they actually make those improvements on that site.
No, but
So-
the proposed exemption and estimated value. It's not a figure written in stone, but it should be an approximate. On all the other ones we have gotten, they have been an approximate.
We won't have that. I can, if we can preserve this, here's what I propose. If I get the information from the property appraiser's office, I'd like to send that out to you, and if that's agreeable to you, perhaps I can get a vote by phone, or if you vote today, then we would, if it's, I don't know how we vote
Well,
today.
if you go and you just estimated $2 million at 85%, then your millage on that, you're talking about $3,000 at 100%.
For 2.5%.
Huh?
2.5% probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but about $3,000 for 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did not I'm just ballparking if you want to ballpark.
Right, if you want a
That's what
ballpark
you're-
figure,
what you're
that's
talking
So that's
about.
about half that. It's about $20,000, is that?
Yeah, but that's
That'll be
just for
more
the
than
one-
that.
the one year.
You're saying 25,000, not 2,500.
There.
On $1.5 million of improvements.
Yeah. So that's, we're only talking about city tax,
Right.
city portion of the tax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I
it's
got
like,
you right.
so it's
Yeah,
not
you're
that
right.
much. So we're talking about, 3, 6, 20, 10, I mean, what we're talking about, $15,000 over 7 years?
Well,
Probably
this
right around
average
there.
wage includes all employees, higher pay and lower pay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So this, where it says the addition of 40 jobs at an average wage, that is not exactly true, because it would not be the salary, average salary of the 40 new jobs. It includes higher and lower at present.
That's how the form, that's how the
I
state,
know.
and
But
that's
still,
how it
when you're
works.
looking at that, that's what you have to look at.
Understood. I would just offer that in every case, that is the statistic that we're working with. It is always the average of all the wages.
I mean, the working Joe, he might make, what, $20,000 a year?
No.
35,000, it doesn't say.
But it does say 40 jobs at an average of 39.
Well, that's the average wage of what the employees have now. That includes management and regular workers.
I think that's the new staff, that's the new jobs.
No, it says the average, what will be the average annual wage, including all employees?
That's correct.
Well, that would be, yeah, because the 40 doesn't include Kevin and Chris.
It doesn't say that here.
Well, because they're already part of the 100.
Yeah.
They're already
It's
I
just
imagine
new
they pay the
employees.
salary.
just new employees. Then you have to add in, I don't know, benefit package added in? Is the benefit package, what, about 26% on?
I thought it was higher than that.
26 to 30% benefit package?
Right.
So, I mean, you got other. No, but I'm
Most
just talking
of-
about health
most,
insurance and.
Most of these
401k,
people are gonna be drivers and delivery,
Forklift operators.
Right.
drivers and delivery men and those types of employees. I'm sure this doesn't include, it includes a couple of supervisors, that's about it.
However you slice it up, the standard in the economic development industry, what the state wants, what the county wants, what everybody uses around the nation, is the average wage, average annual wage. If we want to require a different wage for the new jobs, that would have to be something that we put on a new application and go forward after this. We do not have that information today. That's just not the way it's done.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure
Well,
where.
I'll tell you what, where my feelings are with this, may I express
Sure.
something here?
Yeah.
They're getting ready to build a new building. We should encourage that. We should, once again, the city of Daytona Beach has to be, especially with 11% unemployment rate, we have to be encouraging. We should not be putting roadblocks in front of something that, if Larry is correct, is $20,000. We should not be, as a city, I don't believe, even entertaining the possibility of looking like we're negative. This is added jobs to our area, and there will be some multiplier effect in the spending, and I'm totally, absolutely 100% in favor of granting this.
Can I call for a motion then, so we can
Is there a
move
motion?
forward?
Motion made by Mr. McDermott.
I'll make the motion to approve.
And I'll second.
And
Discussion?
Yeah, I just want to revisit, and I know we've talked about it in the past, Emery.
Yes.
But do we have a schedule for these tax exemptions? Obviously we're at 100, 100, 75, 75, 50, 50, and 25. And I know we've brought it up before. Is there a schedule to sort of give us a guideline about what we're looking for, or are we just looking at the request of the?
that is the same. That is the guidelines were what I brought in last meeting, and we discussed it.
Okay.
With regard to the schedule, this is the same schedule that we use for Teledyne. We pretty much stick basic unless there's a reason to go unbasic. Sometimes you have a small operation, and if you don't bump up the percentages, they get $0 or $8,000 or 10, set 5, 4, what have you. So sometimes it's a reason to kind of bump it up so that it is kind of significant. So we have that latitude to go that way. But yeah, you're using about the same schedule as we normally use.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes. Thank you, Emery.
Thank you very much.
The second one, application is Crane Performance Products.
Yes, ma'am. In this application, Crane has come before you before and gotten a tax exemption. They are enjoying a schedule of years 1 through 3 at 100%, 4 and 5 at 75%, and 6 and 7 at 50%. What happens, Crane realized that the current location was too small for them. They want to expand. They came back to the City Commission, came through this board, and they asked for a statement of intent that if they moved to a new location, as long as it met all the parameters of the program, that is, it was within the brownfield area, they were still going to create their 22 jobs, would the city consider extending their current exemption to the new location? The state and the county have agreed, I believe, to support this action. This is our way of supporting this action, and we're going to put it before the City Commission. So basically, they're going to move from a 17,000 square foot facility to I believe it's a 25,000 square foot facility with the ability to further expand, I believe, by another 25,000 feet.
No? The old
Okay.
printing? The whole, is that the?
Time out. To what, one person, what are you commenting?
I was just
I didn't
asking-
hear you.
I was just asking, if, was this the old printing plant on Holzenback? I was trying to remember.
Oh.
Radon.
The old
It's the old radon
Okay.
thing, yeah.
Let me go through the application.
Okay.
They're currently, on page 1, business address is currently 1640 Mason Avenue. If you get on a little bit, it's the address where a project will be located is 1830 Holstenback Drive. Go to page 2. Item 1A talks about what they're doing. They're consolidating their location. That they established for this new business established January 2010. D further describes that, and this is a particularly important point. There are discussions going on with this company's headquarters up in Viola, Wisconsin, to bring more of the operation down here. What this does is provides a platform for that to happen. So, okay, let's move on to page 3. Average wage, item number 1, average wage is about $45,000. Their jobs proposed, they don't propose to change the application that came before you before. They're going to create 22 jobs in this same period. They don't want to extend the period beyond where they started. They just want to keep the same thing. Look at item number 6. It's a projection of the payroll over the period of exemption, and it's $8 million and change. Their percentage hiring goal is 15%. And under item number 10, you see their estimated amount of capital investment at $859,000. Turning to page 4, we're at item number 13. They have 28 jobs already, so they've already met the 22 job criterion. The percentage that are Daytona Beach residents is at 16%, and they want to do better. So. This item asks you to support their expansion from a 17,000 square foot facility to a 25,000 square foot facility.
So the benefit of the tax abatement would be to the owners of the property? But
No,
Fisher-
it goes to the business. We have we've done this before. In fact, I think we did it. It's a flow through.
Yeah, well, I understand. Then they get a deduction on their camel and rent.
It's a flow through.
Right. The other thing on number 17 is on number 7. I mean, and this is kind of Ruth's observation. The last one, they have 16% present.
Mhm.
It's in 13, and they're going to 15% on their hiring goal. I think that hiring goal needs to be higher.
Okay.
It was 20% for the Daytona beverages. It's got to at least be 20% for this one, because that would be lowering the percentage of Daytona.
Let me make that pitch to the company when this goes forward to the commission. I'll try to get both of them up.
Yeah, I don't know how you hire a tenth of a person,
Anyway,
but still, the goal should be higher than.
I will make the minimum 20%
Okay.
for these companies, and I'll ask them if they might be able to do better.
When is this one due? Is this going to the commission tonight also?
No, it'll go on the this will go on December 7th and 21st.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't have a meeting in December, so we have to take action now.
Yes.
Emery, just a few items for clarification. Do they currently own the building at 1640 Mason?
No.
So these exemptions are going to transfer from Mason to Holzenbeck?
Correct.
So those exemptions at Mason no longer exist
That's
if we
correct.
approve this, okay. And are the exemptions more, obviously for a 25,000 square foot facility, I would imagine the exemptions are slightly more than for the 17,000 square foot facility.
It's really not that much more. It's I forget what the figure is, but it's not that much more. I can send that. I do have that one from the
So
property.
more or less, we're just transferring what they currently
That's
have
correct.
to a new location.
The magic number that we need, I think I want to say it's $11,486, but I'll send it out to you. The magic number we have to come up with is $11,000 for the city's contribution to the brownfields bonus job creation program for the state. It is $500 per job for 22 jobs. So $11,000 is our magic number. This provides us above 11,000, slightly above, but above 11,000. So we're meeting our fiduciary responsibility.
Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Vaughn,
Discussion?
who's second?
Ruth? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank
This,
you.
when we originally approved this, we were saying 22 jobs, they're to 28 already?
Yes.
In a year? So this is becoming a success story, I would
Yes.
have to say,
Yeah, right.
which is really good to see.
Phil, were they recruited pretty heavily by Lacrosse, was it, or Viola?
Well, that's the parent company. Sean Holly is, when crane cams went down, most of the assets were purchased by S&S Motorcycles, who's in Wisconsin, Lacrosse, and Viola. They're across the line from each other. And they moved all of the motorcycle parts to Wisconsin because they already had plants making motorcycle parts. The son-in-law of one of the owners, one of the S's of S&S, is Sean Holland. And he started up this business they kept the machinery, but they had bought all the machinery from Crane, but just the part that they in business making high-performance race camshafts. And the standard business that Crane did is gone, but the other stuff is being made over there on Mason Avenue. He's done a really good job in terms of marketing and expanding the market. So it's they should call it Phoenix rather than Crane.
Very good. Any other comments on this?
Anything ever happened to the old one?
Still available,
Anybody in it at all?
not to my knowledge.
We've shown it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Citizens' comments, do we have anybody out there? Welcome, everybody.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
let me ask you a question on these two applications. Would it not be pro forma that that someone from the company would be here to answer questions?
Absolutely. Mr. Bowler was, I forget where he was today, but there was some conflict.
Then we shouldn't pick it up. I think for the future, the two things need to be incumbent in these applications. One, we should have the amount exactly, okay? And I'm sorry, but my little thumbnail sketch is just a ballpark. We need to have that number exactly prior to seeing it. Second thing
Yeah, that's a good
is
point.
some representative of the company, if it's Chris
Yeah.
Bowler, Evan Bowler, anybody that's an executive staff of the company would be here. Because we need to ask questions.
And we have had Crane here before, I believe.
Right,
Or
and I
the
think
old-
that's incumbent in
Yeah.
pro forma, and I would suggest that if we don't make that a motion, that we at least make it a resolution to this committee that occur prior to looking at these.
Well, I'll just make a motion.
Please do so, and I'll second.
Yeah.
I make a motion that from now on these applications, that the amount of real estate exempted tax for the city of Daytona Beach be precisely stated, and that
It's two motions.
okay,
You can't do it.
okay, well, that's
You
one.
can make two motions.
All right, then that's my first.
I will
motion.
second that motion.
All right, discussion?
Yes, one thing to comment on your motion, it cannot be precisely stated the value of improvements, the assessed value of improvements per the county tax records. We can't determine. Yeah, I mean,
We can estimate.
okay, so your motion should probably be amended to estimation. I mean,
Estimation.
As close as
May I ask a
possible.
question?
Sure.
Is that allowed? Am I just an observer?
Yes, no.
Okay, I
you're-
apologize.
definitely-
Emery, is that feasible that you can get an estimate 100% of the time in a timely fashion? Because I would hate to hold up a project that was on a fast track when you all require 2 readings at the city commission level anyhow, just waiting on that estimate, delaying it potentially a whole nother month.
At times, it would be very difficult.
You can go on the website and get the estimation.
No, that's different.
I guess because what they're looking at is for Daytona Beverages in particular, they have to determine what the value of this 30,000. They might be spending $2 million, but the tax appraiser might come in and say it's worth 1.2,
It's an estimate, though.
but you're plus or minus 50 to 100%, and so an estimate should be in some type of range of accuracy. And I think prior to actually the actual tax appraiser going in there and determining, I agree with you that we should have an idea,
Yeah.
but plus or minus 50% doesn't give us any good value.
Well, I think what we need is just a closer number that's within a range that we can look at, like you did with Crane.
Well, could the company make that estimate? I guess that's the question is, do you feel that it has to be a city estimate, or could it be another estimate that is put forth in good faith
That's a good idea.
so that the company could make its own estimate working with you all or with the city to do that, but it's not actually a city appraiser
Well,
estimate?
if you have if the building contractor's already got an estimate of construction, I mean, that's what you would build, I would build it off of, okay? And then you multiply times some percentage, like 85% or whatever for the tax appraisal. And then times your Daytona millage rate. It's gotta be closer than having nothing, okay? And make it some sort of a not to exceed number or whatever else, or an estimate number, just so we have something that we're seeing, and whether it's $200,000, we don't know. I mean, if you don't have a number.
Am I correct that, Emery, that you have to have that number before you go to the city commission?
Yes.
Then why can't we have the number to satisfy these folks?
Sometimes the timing runs a
All
little
right, then
counter.
an estimate would do, but most of the time, what they're approving should be exactly what's going to the city
Most
commission.
of the time, we do have it. We do not have it for Daytona Beverages this time.
Well,
Just-
don't you have
when-
to have
when-
it before
when-
you go to the commission?
Yes, we do. So it would not go to the city commission without that estimate. It just sometimes because of the timing of when I get the information back from the property appraiser's office in official form, it would throw us out of line to be on the city commission agenda. What happens is in order to get on the commission agenda, as Phil knows, and Helen, you got to do it 2 weeks ahead of time. Okay,
Right.
and in order to do it 2 weeks ahead of time, for you guys, sometimes that meeting is a week after
So we
or a
just
week
don't
before
jive
or
with
something
our
like that.
time- with
So
our
so
time
if I wait to do that all the time,
Yeah,
I'm probably pushing out to another city commission meeting,
right.
which might be problematic to the company. So back to the thing of being friendly and what have you, being cooperative, being an ombudsman for these companies to work it through the system. That's what we're trying to do. I can probably very comfortably give you a not to exceed amount. As you saw, I said 47,000. It's about double that. I'm never going to give you, hopefully, never going to give you something that turns out to be, I tell you $5 and it's $140,000 or something like that. So I'm erring on the side of caution
Right.
in that way. But sometimes it can be problematic if companies want to pull the trigger. They want to sign that contract and get that price locked in and what have you. It in the best of worlds, it should work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But sometimes it works 1, 4, 3, 2. It just doesn't.
Larry, you want to amend your, or drop your,
No, I think we should have an estimate of the.
Sure.
tax
okay,
impact.
well, let's
with the
amend, let's
max,
amend
maybe.
your motion then.
Okay, we can have, I can
A
promise to
maximum.
have an estimate, albeit it may be
Oh, hang
a
on.
different estimate. It may be a different estimate. It may not be the property appraiser's
Let me
estimate.
restate my motion.
Right, please
I
do.
move that prior to our committee entertaining the exemption for ad valorem tax, that a estimation of the tax impact of the city of Daytona Beach be stated on the form, and that they would have an estimation with a maximum.
Okay.
And simply, it would be an estimate
Okay,
with a maximum.
that's, do
That's,
you want to second that
I agree,
again?
second.
Okay.
okay, that was Mr.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. My second motion is prior to bringing this, or at the time that this exemption to ad valorem tax is brought before the board, that someone from the company, an executive of the company, be here to be able to answer, or their designate, could be their land planner or whatever else, be here to answer any question.
Another comment. Would you be willing to have a designate also be a representative of Team Volusia or Volusia County rather than the company? Because there are instances where, again, a project's moving quickly, the key folks are out of town, and again, in terms of expediting, I would hope that you all would be open to something like that, but if you're not, I understand.
No, I second that, and I agree that it's important to them, somebody should be here.
Well,
Well,
Yeah,
from
but
the
you
company
can't-
or
From
can
the
the,
company.
Are we in discussion?
Helen is
what,
asking.
stop,
I
let's,
said
let's,
designate, and that might, in my.
or as a designated person is in the
Designate.
motion. Right. So that could be that person, so.
Okay, it could be their land planner, could be Helen, could be any, but that's somebody speaking for the company.
All right,
Okay,
so,
because it could be somebody out of town, Helen, and they're in Wisconsin, they can't make it in, they're snowed in or whatever, and Helen's gonna have to take it, or that, the real estate guy's gonna come here, or someone's gonna be here, but they answer that question.
all right, would you like to, can you repeat that, Emery?
Uh,
Or not? So that we
that-
can get a second?
Okay, the motion is that there should be a representative of the company present when the application is discussed,
Or designate.
or their designate. I'm sorry, representative of the company or their designate present when the application is discussed. This is my,
Can you, yeah, all right, so Ruth seconds that. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, thank you.
very
I
well.
think that's excellent. Okay. We have a next scheduled meeting, which is February. Actually, our, that puts us beyond our January meeting, so
Yes.
we'll be getting out a lot of information to you guys before that.
Right.
Henry?
Let me talk about that just briefly.
Okay.
On the previous agenda, I had put a meeting down for February 11th. It seems kind of, I'm not sure whether we need a meeting on February 11th. So I've taken
You
it
mean
out.
January.
I'm sorry, January 11th. So by agreeing that we're going to meet on February 15th, we are canceling the January 11th meeting. We're meeting on the 12th for the program.
Let me ask you a question. What if we had an application for exemption of ad valorem tax or some other official duty of this body?
Call a special.
We call a
We'd
meeting.
call a special
We
meeting.
can always call a special
Yes.
meeting. I'm just a little bit concerned that this is our last meeting before we actually have our January time, and I want to make everyone know that we'll be sending out some information via email. Please check your stuff and get back to us with any comments, because I'm really anxious to get this January meeting, off to on the right
I'm
foot.
sure we can meet in December.
We could, if we need to.
I mean,
I don't-
I would feel, with this big event coming up, I would feel better about it if we voted, or had a meeting in December, even if it's only 1/3 thing, and that's to talk about the.
What would that date be? Can you?
December
can you-
21st.
December 21st?
That may be a little bit, why don't we make it December the 14th?
That's not a
I'm
problem.
okay with that. I mean, if
Even
y'all
it's a
want to,
one- Even if it's a one thing agenda, we're out of here
Right.
at 8:30, it would be better to touch and make sure that we've got, you know,
we can do that. Let's put it on the calendar for right now, and
I
then
would, I
Emery,
would
if
need
it
a
looks
motion
like-
and a second.
uh,
I need a motion and a second.
Oh, okay.
Second?
Who made the motion?
you know.
Larry. Okay, so we made a motion to have a meeting on December 14th, seconded by Ruth. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let me just
Well,
go.
I'm just trying to follow the rules here.
Let me just go through this now.
Okay.
We are agreeing in that motion, Larry, that we will not be meeting on January 11th. That meeting will be rescheduled to December 14th.
Right.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, any other comments on anything we've talked about tonight, this morning?
Move for adjournment.
It's been a good meeting. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
The final motion.
The final motion.
We're gonna call the motion.